Welcome to Chichen Itza, everyone.
Easy or something.
Wow, it is very busy here. We thought the rain would drive people away, but everyone showed up at the same time as us. It's even a Monday. We thought we would be lucky. I can't imagine what this is like on the weekend.
Got a poncho?
See? Got a poncho.
Got a poncho.
We're expecting sun the whole day today. So that's what it showed in Cancun, and completely different here. Of course, we're 3 hours away from Cancun right now.
I know,
So
right?
the weather's completely different. How do I look?
You look fantastic. I love it.
Like a big blueberry?
Very fashionable.
So we just arrived here through that very busy entrance, and we are walking through the rain to find the world wonder that sits here on the Yucatan Peninsula. This is my first time seeing it. I am so excited, and we have a tour guide that's going to lead us through this whole area, which is gigantic. So excited to jump into it. Let's go.
Welcome to Chichen Itza, everyone.
We are so lucky today because not only are we getting a tour from a really kind, wonderful tour guide named Homero. He's been really lovely so far, but also my parents are archaeologists, and so they are so excited and going to share some of the information and knowledge and insights and ask great questions throughout this tour. I just know it. So let's go.
Chichen Itza was a large Mayan city located in the middle of the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. The city was thought to have been occupied by the Mayans from around 300 to 1200 AD before being abandoned for reasons that are still unclear to archaeologists. The complex of ruins features some of the most impressive examples of Mayan architecture ever discovered. While many people recognize the main pyramid that towers over Chichén Itzá, El Castillo, there are many other impressive buildings in the city for people to explore.
Well, this is like the ball course. We're talking about this is the largest arena what we got in Mexico, Central America, South America.
Wow.
We understand we have 7 players in this team. Everybody, they're gonna have a chance to use the chest, arm, no hands, hip, knee, foot. Thanks to carvings, we understand those guys, they use something looks like a kind of wood racket. And also they have something looks like a kind of hockey stick. The purpose of the game, maybe some of the players, they're gonna have a chance to walk up and get on the top of the wall. You see the hoops in the middle?
Yeah.
That's where you're gonna need to pass the ball. And also, Mayas, they use a solid rubber ball.
Okay.
We don't have rubber trees in this part of the country, but we do in the border with Mexico and Guatemala, and also in a state is named Veracruz.
Okay.
That's where we understood the ball came from.
So they made the ball and then brought it
Exactly.
up here?
How big was the ball, do you think?
Depends on the size of the fields.
Oh, okay.
On the size of the balls right here, it was like a softball.
Okay.
Softball? Okay.
So probably it's that big.
So would the spectators have been standing on top, or?
We're thinking we had to be on top of the walls.
Yeah, must have been.
Like that guy right there.
Yeah.
Our zoom doesn't go in too much, but there's a bunch of dogs that are just up there looking down on us. They're so cute.
This is the baseball bat or the hockey stick, what we are talking about. And if you look the carving carefully, this is the shoulder, and you see this man is holding like the racket.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Oh yeah.
The knee is broken, but on the second player, it looks a little bit more clear. Face, shoulder, arm, wood racket, and you see this guy has like the baseball bat. Yeah.
So it's really fun going on this tour because Mom is also an archaeologist, and so this is totally up her alley. And so she's just going to explain a little bit more that I had forgotten to record here. So
Well, that's okay. So by no means, I don't know a lot about Mayan culture, but I understand what he was saying, that there's an awful lot that's not yet known. So even with the few people that still understand the glyphs that you see and the drawings and so forth in the Mayan temples, there's only about 60% of it that's understood. So one of the challenges here is they're not sure. The engravings indicate that there was bloodshed basically after a ball went through the whole hoop we saw, the hole. And if it was just a sporting game, it's hard to say who would have been killed. It could have been the opposition, it could have been one of your own people. They're pretty confident, though, that this was a sacrifice after each scoring. If it was a ritual, then it's an interesting idea that it probably wouldn't have been the opposition, because the idea of sacrifice to the gods is that you give the best, you give your best. Therefore, there's a lot of debate that it is more likely to have been the person that scored and managed to put the ball through the hoop up there. So they don't know, which is great. I love it that actually archaeologists are willing to say we don't know, because often people say, oh, it's this, and they're just guessing.
This pit has the ability to echo all around here, and so you keep hearing people clapping and whistling and yelling, and it's just this really cool surround sound effect around here.
They're trying to show off the acoustics of this place. The walls that you see behind us look very straight, but they're actually slightly curved. Yeah, so like you should be able to hear someone if they clap over there really easily. The sound should carry over there. And they say they did that slightly on purpose just because that helps to allow people to rebound the ball into the goal a little bit easier, but also there's some theories out there.
So when you come to these kinds of sites, you think it's always been like this, and maybe somebody came and just sort of cleaned off a little bit. Actually, this is a really fascinating way of getting a sense of what this looked like when the archaeologists first arrived. So on the right is the wall that they've reconstructed or rebuilt from for the edge of the ball court. But to the left is more like what it would have looked like when they first came here. And so what archaeologists do is incredibly painstaking and intensive work to try to figure out, clear away that rubble, figure out how the stones would have laid, what they're related to, and so forth. So
This is one of the sources what they got for make pigments back in those days. For example, we got the seed, and it looks like a kind of orange, red. This is a kind of hibiscus.
Okay.
What color do you think it's gonna be?
Oh, purple.
This kind of a purple.
And they use flowers.
Cool.
As soon as it start getting dry, they change the color a little bit. But the Mayas, that's what they use. They use flowers, they use insects, they use seeds to get the paints, and they paint the whole buildings. This kind of drawing, it was did by Edward Thompson and Frederick Carterwood. Edward Thompson came from the state. Frederick Carterwood came from UK. Way in the beginning, this was a drawing, because 1800 was no cameras. So they've been in several places like Chichen Itza, Tulum, Uxmal, different areas around the Yucatan Peninsula in different periods, but this is one of the first images what we got. So you're looking this, it's the main temple what we got behind.
Wow.
And how long had the Mayan been gone by the time they drew that?
Well, the Mayas been in Chichen Itza between 300 years after Christ, and the idea is they start getting abandoned between 9 or 1200 years after Christ.
But Maya people still live here, though.
Yes,
So I mean, so
all over.
So it's just the buildings were abandoned. Is that right?
But they're
It's
not as
correct.
overgrown as I would assume they would have been in 1800.
Well, the idea is those guys, what they did is just abandon Chichen Itza, and they just moved to the coast,
Right.
which is where we got Tulum right now. Or Playa del Carmen, Cancun, Isla Mujeres, that's where they moved. All the yellow square is the foundation. The reason why it's that foundation is because we have a water cave or cenote below to the building.
Wow.
So the Mayas, they knew we have that cave, and that's why they built the foundation to make more the soil get stronger. Because try to imagine how much weight we got above.
Yeah.
And only like several weeks after they discovered the foundation, they discovered we got a third building inside. If you take a look at my photo, you see the first one, you see the second one, and the third one, right? All those dates what we got here on my right, everyone's they has a different datus.
I am just absolutely awestruck walking up to the base of this thing. Just standing in front of the world wonder right now. Wish I could have gotten a chance to climb these stairs just like so many people have in the past, but even just standing at the base of this thing is pretty incredible. Look how big it is.
So you can really get a sense of just how expansive this site is. Our tour guide was saying that there's only about 40 ruins or sites and buildings that you can see, but he's guessing that there's probably about 400 buildings that are across all of these acres of land. It's just massive.
What do you see over there?
Nothing, except I'm guessing there's something big there. Can you see anything?
This jungle is. No, I can't see anything.
If you start to see trees growing higher up,
Okay.
there's a structure almost certainly underneath there.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
See, that tree is higher.
It's so
Okay,
high,
yeah, it
like
looks
you
like
were
he's sticking
saying.
out of something very high.
Take a left, take a left. Watch out for the snake.
I was literally just thinking that.
Oh, yeah.
All the trees where you see, they look
Yeah.
like higher,
Yeah, yeah,
and there's a bunch of rocks what we got on.
yeah.
There's like a bunch of rocks.
Oh, there we go. Yep. It almost looks natural. I would have never guessed if I
does.
didn't know.
But if I don't tell you, you
Yeah.
can't see it.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's amazing.
Wow.
So this is the start of the marketplace, and it's amazing how much these pillars and like this structure reminds me of like Greek or Roman like archaeological sites as well. Just the use of the pillars and even like the just the way that they're formed is very cool.
Kind of reminds me of Ephesus a little bit, actually.
Yeah. So just two cultures completely separated by an ocean and time. You know, they didn't exist at the same time. To have sort of similar architectural style with the pillars is very, very cool. All right, so now that we've wrapped up our tour of Chichen Itza, which has been amazing, mind-blowing, I've loved it. The sun has finally come out, starting to get hot out, so we're gonna go find one of the local cenotes to go cool off.
So we have just arrived at one of the many cenotes that are found around Mexico, and this one's just located about 30 minutes east of Chichen Itza, where we just came from, and it is stunning. I have never seen anything like this before. So unfortunately our GoPro didn't charge properly, so our experience of swimming in the cenote ended up being just for us. But we still wanted to call it out because it was such a cool experience. So there are thousands of them across this part of Mexico, and we would highly recommend that you find one to go swim in yourself. With that, we hope you enjoyed this video and that you learned something new, and we will see you next week as we continue to explore Mexico. Bye!